I'd like to relate a few thoughts with all of you today. One is today I read about a report about the Maersk um, container cargo line, Alabama. How, and many of you may know that there was a movie that was centered around Captain Phillips of the Alabama, whereas um, it was a factual film, whereas this ship was carrying cargo. You know, you see the ships where they have big, like the train cargo containers where they're all stacked up. Uh, it was going on its normal route around the Horn of Africa, and this area is quite active with piracy. And the ship was briefly hijacked in 2009. And today, in 2014, a report came out that there were two men found dead on that very same ship. Um, Probably unrelated as far as specific people. Nevertheless, it does illustrate to all of us how dangerous that area is around the Horn of Africa. And I think it's important that we all learn and understand and realize the uh, the domestic situation over there. You've got lots of small countries there, including Somalia, that are ripe with political unrest, where government fails to see the needs of the people. They are third world, and when you have that situation, obviously the people themselves are going to be in such a poverty situation. They're going to be very poor, very needy. When you are in that mode of life, where you are in that destitute a situation, you tend to latch onto um, any prize or opportunity that comes your way. And an opportunity comes by these young men over there, whereas when they see, these ships crossing, the international waters, they have the opportunity by overlords and people up on that ladder, the underground. They have the opportunity to seize these ships and people for money, and so it's easy to understand the why and the how. At the same time, from our perspective, we as the United States, we need to protect our interests, and that's what's going on here. Is we are protecting our interests, primarily our ships, but also cargo. And it's interesting to note that um, a lot of that cargo goes to other countries. It's not just the United States. But primarily, most of these ships that go through there are owned and operated by American companies and American crews. And it's very difficult to explain to a person who is in a destitute situation the gravity of what they are doing when they hijack a place and they literally put people's lives in danger. Um, and this also illustrates the uh, the pride of man. When there's something temporal or physical that we are in desperate need of, we tend to forego those more important principles and doctrines and precepts that we as civilized people live by. And all too often, people in this situation, unless their needs are met, they cannot be negotiated with. Well, they can as far as immediate satisfaction if they're uh, in trouble themselves, yet they've taken a ship hostage. Yes, it can be negotiated. But as far as changing their heart, changing their mind, changing their objective, it is very difficult to impress upon their heart that what they're doing is wrong. Because for any man, if you don't show them in some fashion a better path, if you can't show them the light at the end of the tunnel of that path, they're going to remain on the path that they are on. And so for any of us who maybe live day by day, hand to mouth, in a poverty situation, you might get a glimpse of the understanding of that. If you're living paycheck to paycheck or entitlement to entitlement, it is very difficult to see the reality of the possibilities that you are truly able to accomplish. So I think that governments over there need to be worked with. I think that uh, free enterprise needs to be exercised between countries in order to increase the quality of life for the entire third world country over there. But that is something that has to be taken care of on a government level. And so that's neither here nor there. Those are my thoughts on that. Um, at the same time, going back to our American interests, they are the world's interest. Millions of people are being benefited by the cargo that's on these ships. And especially when they are traveling in international waters, they need to be protected. And there are company entities out there, groups such as the Trident Group, that are very adept to facilitate this market. That is a growing need. So it's almost imperative in this day and age and in the future to require the contracting of armed security on these container cargo ships. It's unfortunate, but that is the reality of the world that we live in. And obviously, as we've seen, not only in 2009, but also 2014, and other several incidences in between, they can become deadly. And those things need to be dealt with It would be nice to have these problems more dealt with on an inclusive scale as far as other countries helping out. Um, but as most people know, that's not going to happen as long as the United States is there to police the waters. And but for those of you that have seen the movie Captain Phillips, it is a very emotional film. Um, it stirs something inside when you see a film that is based around the factual occurrences of an incident. One that comes to mind is World Trade Center. I had the same similar types of feelings watching that film because you are identifying with actual people whose lives, emotions, thoughts were in utter peril. And so I applaud some of these films because they open up an avenue of compassion in our hearts, if you will, a longing of feeling, and in rare instances, if we are able to help, we are able to open up our wallets or our expertise and our counsel and to help out. Um, but it is just very important for us as the United States to protect our interests around the globe, and more importantly, our people. And I think with the Benghazi incidents and others, we have learned that we as a people have far undercut the prize, the precious nature of our most valuable asset, and that being our people. To witness on actual television our own American citizens being dragged through the streets, being completely ravaged, and knowing that you are helpless to help. And that's sort of on a different scale than what I was talking to before about the Maersk cargo liner and Captain Phillips, because you are watching a film after the fact and feeling sympathy towards that and the situation surrounding it. Here, when you talk about the Benghazi, you are either seeing things firsthand, live, or shortly thereafter. It might as well be live. And so you are living in the moment of that recorded video. And when you are living in the moment, that sense of urgency is sort of brought on a little bit stronger because you are then more keenly aware of not just what is happening, but what is being allowed to happen. And so I think that side of the emotion is also important. It's improper to see somebody being killed and ravaged on the streets, any street. At the same time, we all need to be aware of what is being allowed to happen, not just by our government, but by extension, every American citizen. And there was a time when we would be up in arms and we would not allow this kind of crap to happen. But somewhere along the ways, we have become a very apathetic people, and those things don't affect us like they used to. But those are a couple thoughts for the day. Thank you.